Have you encountered any wolves when you're out there?
Yeah, plenty of times, yeah. The first time I went to Canada was Northwest Territories, and there was a pack of wolves that they were chasing a caribou bull, and they pretty much chased this thing to like a lava of sweat, you know, like this is in winter. So the caribou bull got really hot, and they chased it into the freezing cold river, and they sort of surrounded it in the river, and then they just left it and they walked off, you know, and it wasn't that they were walking away from their kill. They knew the job was done. The wolves went back up high and they got onto these rocky benches and sat in the sun and were like drying out themselves and cooling down and drying out. And this caribou never left the river. It was like just quivering in the river. And then that afternoon when we come back, that caribou was just a carcass with like flesh hanging off the ribs on the side of the river. So they come back down once the river had done its job and ate them.
Wow.
You know? Smart as hell, eh?
That's really crazy that they're that intelligent that they know it's over. They're like, oh, okay, he's in the water.
Yeah.
He's in the water.
We can chill
let's
now.
Go dry off.
Yeah, yeah.
They're so wise. People that I know that have seen them in the forest say they look at you a different way. They're figuring you out, you know? You got to think what it would be like if you're just out there, you know, if you're lucky, live 5 years old, right? You get this hard scrabble life out there chasing much larger animals than you, and you got to kill them with your face.
Yeah. I had a pack of like 30 wolves this last trip that I was in BC, and they kept coming around camp. We had horses and that in camp, and one day I ventured out to try and get onto them and get a better look at them, and they just, without seeing me, they just kept this perfect range. You know, like they'd howl back to me. I was trying to call them in. I was howling. They'd howl back to me, and they'd just keep this perfect range. And you could tell the whole time they were communicating, because there'd be another wolf or a couple of wolves that were like a couple of miles in the other direction, and you could hear them moving the same pattern that the rest of these wolves were. And I got eyes on them from a distance. They walked across a nice lake, and other than that, I never really seen them, but I guarantee you those wolves looked at me a bunch of times. Like, they're just a different hunter, dude.